In today's video, I'm going to share with you my exact plan that took me from drowning in over $70,000 worth of debt, bills going to collections, and me being so anxious that I couldn't even look at my bank accounts, to today being consumer debt free, having a six-figure net worth, and being on track to reaching financial freedom in just 10 years. So how did I do that? Well, I had an irresistible goal, which is turning into what I now call the Irresistible Goal Framework, which is what I'm going to walk you through in this video. And if you would like to start your journey to become a 9-to-5 millionaire using my exact plan, then click the link in the description box to grab your free copy of the Irresistible Goal Framework. I want to quickly explain what I mean by an irresistible goal. So an irresistible goal is your why, or the core reason behind why you want to achieve financial freedom. Now, this goal has to be so strong and so motivating that it pushes you to take action even when the journey gets tough. Because without a strong why, it's very easy to lose momentum. So to make this goal real and actionable, I suggest you write out an irresistible goal statement using the 3 W's. What do you want to achieve? When do you want to achieve it? And why is this goal important to you? So an example of an irresistible goal statement might be, I want to have a $1 million liquid net worth and be debt-free by the time I'm 45 so that I can drop down to part-time work and spend more time with my family without the financial stress. Now, this goal statement becomes your guiding light, and every decision that you make from here on out should push you closer to this goal. Now, let's jump right into the framework, starting with phase 1, which is gain clarity, because you cannot make a plan without knowing where you stand. So I want you to start by analyzing your spending habits over the past 3 months. If you're new to managing your finances, you probably have no clue where all your money is going. So take a look at the past 90 days of your bank transactions and categorize each expense for each month. And this will give you a very clear picture of how much you're spending each month in categories like your groceries, bills, and entertainment. Doing this analysis is key because it gives you immediate clarity on your financial situation. So don't skip this step, because the data collected here will be very important for many of the other phases in this framework. So it's worth taking the time to do it right. Next, you want to calculate your net worth. So what is a net worth? Well, your net worth is your assets minus your liabilities. And your assets can be anything like your house, your checking accounts, your savings accounts, any investment accounts, any other real estate, or even a business that you might own. Now, your liabilities are anything that you owe, so your debts. So think of credit card debts, card loans, student loans, things like that. Knowing your net worth is so important because it tells you where you stand financially. And it's good to know whether it's positive or negative. And if your net worth turns out to be negative, don't be discouraged, because when I first started, mine was too. But now my net worth is positive, and actually I did a video where I talked all about net worth and how our net worth has doubled in the last 3 years, and I'll link it here. Next, we're going to calculate your financial independence number. Now, this is the amount of money that you need to have saved or invested in order to live comfortably without working. This is that magic number that once you meet it, you'll be able to cover all of your living expenses with your investments or your savings without requiring a paycheck. And this is the number that's going to go with your irresistible goal statement. So to calculate your financial independence or FI number, you're going to first estimate all of your annual living expenses, and then you're going to multiply that number by 25. And this is based on the 4% rule, which suggests that you can safely withdraw 4% of your investments every year. So for example, if your annual living expenses are $40,000, you'll multiply that number by 25, and that'll give you $1 million. So that is your FI number. And once you reach $1 million in your investments and in your savings, you are officially financially free. And this is why I had you do that spending habits analysis first, because you cannot calculate your financial independence number unless you know your annual living expenses. And you cannot know your living expenses if you don't know where your money is going. So once you know your FI number, it's time to set a goal date. And this is where it gets exciting, because now you have a finish line to look forward to. But this is also very important because we need that to calculate your minimum monthly cash flow. And this is the amount of money that you need to have saved or invested each month in order to to reach your FI number by your target date. So for example, if your FI number is $1 million and you want to hit that in 10 years and you're starting from zero, then you will need to invest $5,752 per month. Now, not a lot of people have that just laying around extra. And if that money sounds out of reach for you, then you'll have to adjust your goal. So maybe instead of $1 million FI number, maybe it's 500K. And instead of a 10-year goal, maybe you stretch that out to 15 years. And this leads perfectly into phase 2, optimize your cash flow. And the goal of this phase is to organize your money so that you can funnel as much as possible into your FI goal. The first thing you're going to do is create a realistic budget. A realistic budget is the foundation of optimizing your cash flow. And the key to making this work is knowing exactly how much you spend in each category. And that is again why I had you do that spending habits analysis in phase 1. Because if you budget $400 for groceries, but you actually spend $600 a month on groceries, then you're always going to be going over budget and you're going to be saying, oh, that's why budgeting doesn't work for me. No, budgeting does work, but it just was never realistic. A realistic budget is key to reaching your FI goal. Next, I want you to build a starter emergency fund. So I want you to set aside cash for unexpected expenses, such as a medical emergency or a car repair. And I want you to aim for at least $2,000 or maybe 1 month of living expenses, really whatever fits your comfort level. Having this buffer will keep you from falling back into debt, and it'll also help you stay on track towards your goals. And this will take sacrifice. So I want you to try to build this starter emergency fund as quickly as you can. So if you need to cut your subscriptions, if you need to stop eating out altogether, if you need to take on a little side hustle to make extra money, if you need to sell some things, whatever you need to do, get this starter emergency fund built up. Because the faster you can get this built, the faster we can move to the next step, which is pay off high interest debt. If you have debt, especially high interest debt, I would make it a priority to pay it off. And I'm referring to your credit cards, your student loans, your car loans, or any other consumer debt. So what I did was create a debt repayment plan. And there's different methods you can use, like the debt snowball, which actually you line up your debt smallest to largest and you start with the smallest balance first, or the debt avalanche, where you start with the highest interest rate first. Whichever method works for you and will keep you motivated to paying off your debt, that's the one I would use. You might find that paying off your debt and reaching your FI goal by your target date is pretty difficult with your current income. And if that's the case, you may need to consider increasing your income. So I would look for any opportunity to make more money, whether that's negotiate a raise, get a higher paying job, take on some overtime shifts, or get a side hustle. Because the more cash flow you can throw at your FI goal, the faster you'll get to freedom. Now let's move on to phase 3, which is aggressively save and invest. Now that you've optimized your cash flow, we're going to direct it towards your goals. So in this phase, we're going to prioritize putting that money to work in order to reach financial independence faster. The first thing I did was start contributing to my tax advantage accounts. So if it's available to you and you have an employer-sponsored retirement plan like a 401k, a 403b, a TSP, or a 457, I would start investing in those because they come with an employer match most of the time, and that is free money. And I just want to make a quick note. If it's going to take you years to get out of phase 2 because you're paying off your high interest debt, then I would move this step into phase 2, because investing as early as possible, and especially getting that employer match, which is free money, is so powerful on your wealth building journey. So I would start contributing to a 401k in phase 2, at least to get the employer match and not lose out on that free money. But I would only do that after I've built that starter emergency fund. So once you're contributing to a 401k, I would also consider opening up a Roth IRA for tax-free growth and trying to max that out every year. And also think about an HSA or a health savings account to cover your medical expenses, but also for investing purposes. These accounts offer strategic tax benefits that help build your wealth faster. But just keep in mind that each account has their own annual annual contribution limits. Next, you're going to fully fund your emergency fund. So now we're going to beef up that starter emergency fund to 3 to 6 months of living expenses. And I would suggest keeping this money in a high yield savings account because you'll actually earn interest on that money passively while the money is easily accessible. And now that we have a fully funded emergency fund, you can start saving for specific goals, and these are called sinking funds. So this could be saving up a down payment for a house, buying a new car, or going on vacation. And it's so important to have these buckets of money available because if anything happens that's not really an emergency, you already have the money there to cover it. So again, I would put these sinking funds in a high yield savings account. And I personally use Ally Bank for my emergency fund and for my sinking funds. And I have a link in my description box to Ally Bank if you're interested in opening up an account. Next, we're going to automate your savings and investing. The best way to stay consistent with your savings and investment goals is to automate the process. So basically, just set up an automatic transfer from your checking account into your savings and investment accounts every single month. And this makes sure that you stay consistent to reach your goals without having to think about it. So once you've maxed out all of your tax advantage accounts and you still have cash flow left over, you can invest in a taxable brokerage account. So in this account, you can invest in index funds, stocks, or bonds. And the nice thing is there aren't any contribution limits. So you don't get the tax benefits of like a 401k, but you do get the flexibility of being able to invest as much as you want. And the nice thing about taxable brokerage accounts is you can access that money at any time without penalties. But if you try to access your 401k or your Roth IRA before retirement age, you will have to pay a penalty. Let's move on to phase 4, which is probably the most impactful phase, which is leave a legacy. We all leave a legacy, whether you realize it or not. But the key to a financial legacy is making sure that your family is financially secure long after you're gone. So quick story, one of my favorite songs by The Temptations was Papa Was a Rolling Stone. And if you know that song, you know it says, and all he left us was alone. Now, did he mean alone as in by himself or alone as in debt? You let me know in the comments below. But either way, this is an example of leaving a bad legacy because you're leaving your family in financial distress. On the flip side, Proverbs 13:22 says, a wise man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. So it's up to you what type of legacy you leave, one of financial abundance and stability or one of financial hardship and struggle. The easiest and most impactful way to make sure that your family is taken care of if you're gone is to have life insurance. And I recommend term life insurance because it is very simple to understand and is very affordable. The earlier you get the policy, the lower the premiums will be. And so if there's anybody depending on your income, this is a non-negotiable. Next, you can think about setting up a will or a trust, and these ensure that your wealth is passed down properly and in accordance with your wishes. And it might be helpful to consult an estate planner. This is how you start thinking about generational wealth and how you can build it for your kids and your grandkids. So if you have children, think about setting up a 529 account for them for their education. Or if you want to set up an investment account, you can do a custodial taxable brokerage, or you can also do different custodial accounts like an UTMA or an UGMA. And don't forget about paying off any real estate. Owning your home outright or having paid off rental properties is a great way to build long-term wealth, but it's also a huge blessing for anyone who inherits it. If you want to build generational wealth and pass down your assets to your kids or your grandkids, you need to give them the best gift ever, which is financial literacy. So help teach them about how to manage money, because if they're going to inherit all this money and they don't know what to do with it, they're going to lose it as fast as they got it. So whether it be, giving them books or watching YouTube channels like this or podcasts, there's so many resources out there to learn about how to manage money. So give them the tools to learn so that when you give them this wealth, it'll be a blessing for them rather than a curse. So as they succeed financially, they'll continue to carry on your legacy to the next generation. And that's it. This Irresistible Goal framework is my personal roadmap for reaching financial freedom. And if you would like to start your journey to financial freedom using this framework, then be sure to click the link in the description and get your copy of the framework because it is chock full of information and I know that it'll provide so much value to you. And if you haven't seen my 9 to 5 Millionaire series, then click this video next and I'll see you there.